of time before they really find out how they want to indulge in who's going to get the priority elsewhere on the map, because you have a lot of players that, they have a lot of room for being played for. I think it's just a matter of time before we see top esports go for like, all right, let's get some pressure in the mid lane, let's use this pressure to facilitate Jackie-Love, and from there on we could just overtake the map. Because I'm a bit uncertain with King Tien right now. Obviously we've only seen one game for him so far, but if you want to make it a bit easier, put it on weak side, let him get a feel for the tournament, and then after that try to expand on him as a player, and then rely on the kind of veterans you have here in your team, because there are a lot of good players you can play for on the side of top esports.
There really are, and this time around on the red side as we move into pick and ban, just a quick note for all of our audience tuning in, Hex Flash is still disabled due to the earlier bug with Mako, so unfortunately that will still not be available on 11.11. Apart from that, everything else is open, and I want to talk a little bit more about top esports here on this red side, something they've loved in the past, getting counterpick for the solo lanes. You mentioned King Tien on that weaker side. Well, there's could also just flip the script entirely, look towards Caster setting up top lane yet again. It doesn't have to be as volatile as the Elise, so I'm curious as to what happens here red side, while TT now have the option of blue side first pick.
Yeah, there's still a lot of power picks open. You got the likes of Lee Sin, you got Rumble in the jungle if you want to go for that, and it is just going to be that Lee Sin. So obviously a lot of flexibility coming into that one. Play it in the top lane, play it in the mid, play it in the jungle if you want to. It's going to take some time before we really know who's going to be the one who's going to be piloting this champion.
I think also we've seen, he was really good on the setup champions, set in particular, right? So seeing him on the mid lane Lee Sin is a big possibility, but on the other side, Jackie loves Ezreal. We have the Viego instead of something like the Rumble that's just been looked over and left over for TT.
I think now what you could do as TT is that you could just secure an AP jungler. You could just go with this set for Ye in the mid lane, and then you can kind of go with a free scaling AD carry into the Ezreal. You still have the likes of Kai'Sa, you still have the likes of Tristana up and available, or even a Jinx with a defensive support later onto the pick and ban if that's what you want to. But they are already picking up with the Kai'Sa into the Ezreal. I think that's a decent matchup. You kind of get it as a semi-free scaling, or at least it used to be like this in the past. Obviously now Ezreal with the Divine Sundra build get a bit of an earlier power spike as soon as that is pushed off. And now is the question, do we want to get that AP jungler, or do you feel like you need an engaged support like the Nautilus with the Kai'Sa, like the Leona, or even the Thresh that's still left open? But it is still going to be that Diana, so the damage profile is going to be nicely mixed from CT. Yeah,
so at least those supports will get banned away as a response you expect, but I like that you bring up the AP jungle synergy with what could potentially be solo laners here for TT. The Diana for Xiaopeng has been one of his favorites so far in this split. I think to remind the audience as well, he's only played it once, but we've seen him play a lot in solo queue throughout the off-season too. So keep your eye on that Diana jungle. It's becoming more and more popular. While top esports, there is another power pick that was open. Set, of course, you can't go past.
And we've already seen Diana one time before in the LPL. We might have seen it more, but I'm thinking about FPX when they pulled out the Diana Yasuo combo, LNG rather, sorry.
That was LNG,
So there could be potential for that as well. I don't know if they're willing to go for it for Ye. We've only seen him on the set, but this time around we will be forced to see him on other champions. And then we go to the picks here, or the bans here rather, and you're completely right, Hysterics. We are seeing the support bans starting to come out from the side of top esports, and obviously the junglers being removed from the side of TT just because they know right now that they're going to be needing an AP jungler. You can see you already got 2 AD solo laners unless Viego is going to go jungle, so you just need to be removing some of this mixed damage to lessen that damage profile a bit.
I like taking away Nidalee from Caster. It's been a great champion of him in the past. You mentioned the Nautilus coming in here for the setup of the 2v2. Great pairing with Kai'Sa and even the Leona last ban. So we have a lot of support bans now off of the Rift. Curious to see if top esports are willing to flex, but no, we get the Brom instead. Protect Jackie Love, go for a very EU style of pick, because in the LPL, we have not seen much Brom.
Yeah, and you know what? It's a good read on what TT's composition, what to do so far. You can see a lot of the champions all want to dive in on towards your backline. So the fact you decide, all right, we're going to pick that up with Braum, we're going to create some disengage and still be able to have some sort of engage. Because remember, in lane, the Ezreal Q will proc the Braum passive, so that's going to give you something extra. But no, they're going to keep you in something that's a bit facilitating here. They're going to lock in the Galio. Well, I should probably be a bit careful because this could still go support, although it's been a while since we've seen that. And then into the Braum, it's going to be interesting what we are going to see. And it is actually going to be that Galio support.
Yeah, so the Galio support and part of the initiation tool, right? We have a lot of dive coming through here from TT, but the Jace final lock-in here, most likely... Well, again, we still don't know, right? The Lee Sin could go top. It could be, yeah, on the Jace mid. We'll find out because Gragas is the last pick. I was just talking about Casa picks. Man, even when no junglers really looking at the fat man, Gragas always comes out for someone like Casa. He loves it.
Yeah, and it also brings a good disengage and engage tool for you right now. So I think it's a fine pick. Obviously, it's not the fastest clearing jungler you could get in the AP department right now. I think both Udyr and Rumble kind of sets that one quite nicely. But you can already see what both compositions kind of want to do here. From the side of TT, it's all about that engage. And you know what? I think that might benefit them a bit. We talked a bit about it in the pregame that this team, they're really good at playing the lanes. Or at least, they're pretty decent at it. They don't lose out quite often in the laning phase. But their struggle as a team actually arises when you get to that mid game, when you need to play the macro, when you need to play the map, when you need to play the setups for the objectives. So I think they've created something that's very easy for them to pilot. It's very much about just stockpiling onto the side of top esports.
Which is going to be good, right? When we talked about top esports going up against JDG, one of the weaknesses was their laning phase wasn't as volatile as we've known them to be in the past. And top esports weren't able to move momentum in the game. But I think this time around, what we're seeing as well, when we compared the drafts from Game 1 and Game 2, when we compare them to this is a lot more tempered from top esports, right? There's a lot of facilitating tools, but even more importantly, multiple engage tools. We look at Brom being quite defensive, but the set, the Gragas coming through, it's going to give great space for people like Knight and Jackie Love to pop off here in this Game 1 as top esports look to restore their honor, and as TT keep trying to show us that they're a team worthy of continued talk about. Let's work onto the Rift here. Guildborg, it's your first official LPL cast, man. I'm as hype as hopefully the audience is, as you get to start with top esports as well. And look, starting with top esports, we know they're full of shenanigans at the best of times, whether good or bad. So I hope you enjoy your stay.
Yeah, 100%. I would say, while I took a look onto both teams here, TT is one of those teams that is not actually using too much of their vision in the early game around the jungle side. That's why we saw them kind of get a split map situation in the jungle last time they played. They did manage to make it more onto their side, but I think there are points in time where you can actually expose them a bit. And you can see Kingshan, I think he's just going to drop an early ward onto the blue buff, try to see if there's going to be some early vision, but no. Yeah, there it actually goes down. So we'll know when he's up towards that top side. You can see Xiaopeng starting towards the bottom side of the map will naturally be clearing up towards the top side. And Kasa actually doing the same. So depending on priority, we may see an early skirmish around that Scuttle Crab.
Really interested to see what happens up at that Scuttle. Even more importantly as well, see what happens with Lungxing's lane, because we've seen a lot of LPL Lee Sin versus the set and the advantages that this Lee Sin can accrue. So we'll see if Lungxing's able to hold out here against the new top laner of top esports. But remember, folks, we talked a lot about drafts here. We see, once again, top esports going for something a little bit different. And Jackie Love and Draw already getting pushed into the bottom lane. It's going to be a CS advantage for Sam D, of course, here with the Hail of Blades. That means level 2 first. That means Sam D and Patch, if they can get onto someone like Jackie Love, where Draw is out of position, might be able to find an advantage. But it'll just be the push-in for now.
It will, and it's going to be crucial to see if they're going to push in the second wave. They're actually just going to go ham in the beginning.
They have. I mean, my screen's frozen, but Draw is just at the top.
So is mine.
I'm not sure what happened there, but yeah, ladies and gentlemen, bit of technical difficulties. Gotta love it. It was an Ignite from Patch. It was 3 summoners out of Jackie Love and Dwar. Nice engage.
Yeah, that is super crucial, and specifically due to the nature of the mid lane matchup as well. Yeri is going to have a very easy time getting priority due to the Jay's range matchup into Viego. So when we get to that 5-minute mark, you're going to start to see him pushing in the mid lane. I would expect Xiaopeng to always put his resources towards the bottom lane as well. And you got a very vulnerable bot lane dive down towards top esports. And once again, Hysterics, it's Jackie Love and Jaw having some issues.
Even on an Ezreal Brom lane. I don't know how it's possible, but they didn't respect the level 2. And walking too far forward, already a great part on the map. You did talk on the other side, though, about this Scuttle contest. And Carson now with the barrel roll, looking for Xiaopeng. There's the Lunar Rush jumping on in, the Pale Cascade. Good shielding here, but Qingtian versus Lungxing is going to be outweighed in a second. Carson gets the smite down, though. Hits level 4, and it's first blood over to top esports. Now 3 versus 2 is Xiaopeng. Forced to flash, and the Scuttle Crab way in favor of TES.
Yeah, you can see Xiaopeng, he thought he had the priority on that one due to Ye being the one with the mid lane pressure, but up towards that top side, King Jin was just zoning him out, and I actually don't think they're done yet. No flash.
Oh no, yeah, no flash. Kasa still has his shock blast there, does pretty much no damage to the skies. Yeah, shouts as Knight is still here, but doesn't go back in with a Spectral Maw. Not enough mana to follow this one up, and a close call for Xiaopeng, almost getting destroyed for the second kill.
Yeah, but that's still a huge lead for the solo laners off towards top esports. They get to force him out of the jungle. They get to force the laners away and force their TPC in the early game. Yeah, need to be a bit careful, but no, they're not going to go on towards him. But Knight can just push this lane out, can TP back towards the lane himself now, if he would want to, or he could get a shot up with shove out with Kasa. But you can also see towards that top side of the map, King Qian is just walking. He's going to be saving his TP, which is going to be crucial now, because remember, bot lane of top esport, no summoner spells. Now you can have a TP to save you, and here we kind of see the replay again.
King Qian just kind of beating up Lungxing. I like this. I mean, Kasa held off his smite and kind of beat out Xiaopeng, and he had to burn the flash in the end as well, right, Gilbook? So Xiaopeng now without his summoners as well. It feels like a quid pro quo situation here. Bottom lane has that summoner advantage, but in the jungle now, especially, the Gragas keeping up. We know the solo lane has got the XP advantage with the kill up in the top side. Qingtian 300 gold ahead as Lungxing is trying to get some of it back.
Yeah, I like it. You get priorities towards the top side. You see if you can make any moves. Now, you don't get anything out of the situation, but Longxing, he doesn't lose anything either. So it's completely fine for him to make this roam. You can see he's already back towards his top lane, and I don't think he's going to lose a single CS. So I like the use of pressure that we see him use. It's not something we see too many laners make use of. Lots of times you'll see them just push out the wave, just look at the minions kind of dying to the towers, but I like them making use of the time given to them. And now, speaking of time, King Qian has used his to get into the mid lane.
Yeah, Qingtian doing the same thing. Yeah, to the skies to get out. Remember, he does have flash available, but Qingtian got a full haymaker at the ready. Holds on to the summoner thanks to the TT mid lane. So it is just a little bit of a trade here, but top lane is getting involved. You set it up so well. They're seeing a lot of pressure towards this mid lane, trying to influence what is the most volatile matchup on the field.
Yeah, and now remember, didn't have any flash or any TP whatsoever, so it's going to be really easy for Knight to just shove up this mid lane, recall himself, kind of a bit of a cheater recall, invest in whatever he can afford, and then still have a TP advantage. So top esports, they keep making the most out of their solo laners, they keep making the most out of the pressure. But as we talked about, bot side right now for TT is still winning. So while Knight has to reset, it's very easy for Xiaopeng to just pick up the first drag off that bot lane pressure.
And you get a lot of nice stats out of this as well, right? Especially for someone like Lungxing, the base stats of Mountain Dragon for a bruise is always going to be quite favorable. So starting off the game with a Mountain Dragon, and it's in perfect timing so that they're not losing anything in the top side. They're not losing the Herald play, because Guildbog, I wanted to ask you more about what happens towards this Rift Herald play. In the LPL, we see a lot of supports, a lot of bottom lanes roam up, and with the pressure that you have from Samd and Patch, with the Galio's Heroes entrance almost available, there's a lot of dive-in potential, what did you call it, slog-on or jump-on potential that TT have that they can utilize around this next buff.
Oh, need to be a bit careful around, in the mid lane.
Flash gone, just over the wall and away it goes, and now maybe it doesn't matter if there is that dive-in potential. Burning the summoner there adds a bit of pressure to TT.
Yeah, I'm very much of a fan of just sending 4 members up to the side of Heralds, and you just let your AD carry get solo experience down towards the bottom. Because then even if your opponent send up 5 members, even if they get the Rift Herald, most of the time, that AD carry who just gets to farm the solo experience, who gets the solo plating, usually gets a better trade-off in that situation. Herald obviously still 1 minute or just 10 seconds up until that spawns, and with the pressure that top esports have gained themselves in this bot lane, it wouldn't surprise me to either just see them keep this pressure up, move Jaw up towards that Rift Herald, or just end up crashing the wave at some point in time when they feel comfortable, and then going for the reset towards the top lane themselves. But
I mean, all 3 lanes
still waiting around, and you can see mid lane here.
Okay, Kasa behind enemy lines, has the flash, the explosive cask at the ready. Does he need it? Well, Xiaopeng, no moonfall for you. Kasa tanks up, and top esports with another one.
Yeah, Xiaopeng, nothing he can do there. I mean, he didn't get to play the game. He was just CC'd up completely. Nope. And once again, we look at Qingshan, and he's just moving down once he has pressure. Yes, he's losing some plating, but he's gaining his team so much up to or down towards that mid lane here. And we talked a bit about it in the pre-game. This guy, put him on a weak side, put him on something where he can just kind of get the flow of the game. And this time around, where he's playing a facilitating role without going for too many solo plays, it's really working out nicely for Top Esports.
2 first kills here. He's already got himself the Iron Spike whip, and there's a lot of wave clear up in this top side. The Herald still there, still spawned, but there is good vision control from Top Esports. And we've already talked about the pressure of the top side. It does, since it has the gold advantage. I'm curious though, Predators back up for Casa. Xiaopeng is spotted up towards the top side. And it's still about this mid lane, what you can triumphantly get, while Xiaopeng might be predisposed.
Yeah, here we kind of see the move of supports here. They need to watch out, though.
Oh, the explosive cast, though, flashed away from by Patch, so he'll get out of there. And maybe that shifts gear, but Xiaopeng so close to taking this one down. Lungxing as well was able to reset the wave, so Herald will still go down, but you've taken a good summoner trade off of 2 of the bottom laners.
And here you kind of see what I talked about as well. They decided to move Sam D there up towards the mid lane. Yes, they get the Herald, but they lose out on flashes. They lose out on the skirmisher on the mid lane. And Jakilov, he was able to get 2 waves for himself, while Sam D lost that. Now he got a solo plating for himself. And it's not even sure for you yet on the side of TT where this Herald is going to go. You don't know if you can create the correct setup where you're actually able to put it into Sam D's pocket. And even if you are, you're most likely going to be sharing the gold between Xiaopeng and Patch if he's there to assist. So I honestly don't mind that Top Esports are losing out on that first Herald. I think they're still getting a lot of resources onto the carries that they want.
Maybe he does want to move it to the top side, though. We still have to be careful of where Castle is. He's at the base for now, but Qingtian taking on Lungxing, half the HP bar down. Yeah, this set in very good standings, and Xiaopeng knows that they need to catch Qingtian out to find the play.
You can kind of see his senses. They are tickling. He knows he does not need to go forward here. He can just wait for Longxin to push in this wave.
Okay, Sonic Wave. The kick comes back, and yep, there we go. Moon falls in. He has a full Haymaker bar, though. Flashes for Longxin. Gets the face breaker. Qingtian now with the quick knuckle up into the wall. Smash him down. Qingtian with the 1v2. The flash from Xiaopeng, but the passive healing from the knuckled up set. Nets a 1-for-1 in the end. It's a shutdown, but boy, did it look good for the new top laner.
Yeah, it looked great. 1v2 situation. Now, I don't think he had to go for the play, but he felt very empowered in that lane. So he just decided, you know what? Let's just call that bluff here. Jungler turned out to be there. He makes it a 1-for-1 situation, and they're not able to deploy the Herald up towards the top side. They could be TPing with Longxi up towards top, and then just go for a TP immediately, because Qingtian, no TP right now. So first turret should actually be going over to TT. I like the adaptation for them after that play.
I like that they try and bring the tempo back in. That play was made so decisively, so quickly. What we talked about TT Gilborg was how their early game is the strongest part here, and they're keeping up with Top Esports. The first turret blood nets them equal gold with TES. And so Casa and Draw are trying to make a play into, the Predator's there against the wall, body bopped, once again doesn't get to play. Knight gets a reset, takes the turret shot, flashes over the wall. Heartbreaker still available, but it's still a kill. It's still a dive. And for Top Esports, trying to mitigate TT's play on the top side.
Yeah, and it's so tough for TT as well. You take a look onto the vision on the minimap right now. See how many pink wards that are around that mid lane turret. There's one on the left side and there's one on the right side. There's no way for Ye to actually know if anyone is going to be there. He has to guess every time. So either you're put in a situation where you just forfeit every wave, or you just kind of have to die, as we just saw that. We get to see the replay again up towards that top side of the map. Flash misses out a bit on the true damage, but with the ultimate afterwards and the movement speed he gets from the Q, he's able to pick it up. And then you can see the minimap. You can see both Jace moving up, and he knows, all right, I can't create this 2v2 situation. We're just going to be losing. So decide he just needs to fall to Xiaopeng instead.
And Xiaopeng did get the shutdown. We also have to remember that Xiaopeng got the first turret gold. He was there for the localized gold. So this Diana are actually in a really good position. 500 gold up on Casa when Casa's been involved in the majority of plays, if not all. 0-0-3, so 3 out of 4 kill participation. But that's a Hextech Pro, that's a rocket belt, on Diana. So Xiaopeng is the person we're looking forward to carrying this game for TT to try and bring us into this mid-game strong.
And Hysterics. Meanwhile, we were in that replay. The second Drake was actually picked up by TT as well.
It was.
So not only did they get the first turret, they also got the second Drake there, and onto a good track for putting themselves onto Soul Point in, the next 4 minutes. But the problem for them right now is they need to stabilize the game. They kind of need to slow it down and make sure that Top Esports are not able to make all the plays they're making right now. So sure, you can let Top Esports have their setup, but you need to get your own defensive vision in now, or else they're just going to keep going on towards the mid lane. They're going to keep picking you off with all the retaining members that they have. You can already see they're lining up for a skirmish in the jungle again.
And they move so fast. Patch caught on out here. Will he be able to ulti out? Well, the damage way too much. Shielded ran fantastic, but Knight sticks out his big sword and picks up his second kill of the game. Good rotation. You set up nicely, and that's right. Top Esports are making sure Vision will not choke them out.
Yeah, but you kind of see TT falling for the bait again. Right now, as I said, they need to slow down the game. Just let Top Esports make their setup, but make a positive response to it. Just back off, put your line of defense a bit further back. You know they're there already. Oh, Chinchian up towards the top side.
Chinchian just under the turret. Haymaker comes through. Sonic Wave, Resonating Strike, Dragon's Rage already been used. Now in melee range. Remember, Lee Sin, hell of a duelist, but Chinchian trying to outplay him. You don't win those with the execution onto the queue. Solo kill for Longxing, while Jackie Love, he gets the turret in response.
Yeah, ever since they blew that Summoner's Burst down in that bot lane, they've never really got the punish out of that. So it's been pretty smooth sailing for the bot side of Top Esports for once. But yeah, up towards the Tom side. Chinchian maybe feeling himself a bit too much. Longxing just cleared the wave immediately with the God Drinker, and I think he ends up tanking 3 tower shots as well. Does not help the situation. And then you can see he tries to get a bit smart, try to dodge out on the Sonic Wave with the Strike Breaker instead, but Longxing, already having read that play, just gets him afterwards.
Yeah, it was pretty easy from then on. Longxing was never going to lose that, and the top laner that has had a pretty bad rap, but remember, Longxing still, towards that upper echelon, has always been a good playmaker, always good facilitator as a top laner. Here on the Lee Sin, he might not have the score to prove it, but still in a decent position considering he picked up some of the first turret plating as well. So top side of the map in a very good position here for TT. And I'd even say Sam D still in a decent position as well, as everyone's moving around the Rift Herald, and now we're going to see whose mythics are better, as it could be a fight leading up to this.
Yeah, I'd like to take a look at that. All mythics have come through, so pretty much both teams are completely even now. This could come down to execution. Galioton could be crucial if they just decide to run into them. So for TT, they just need to stay grouped here. Then they can make this play happen.
But Draw at half health. I mean, already that's not a good start here for Top Esports. 2.5k into the backline. The kick from Longxing. Castle caught out, has to body slam away while Herald secured. But into the front of it, Chinchian gets himself a Haymaker. Jacula poking down as well. Explosive cast doesn't get the engage they set up for. And it's a kill for the Herald. Usually pretty worth for TT.
Yeah, they get that. But the problem is right now, they just don't have the map state to back it off. And Sharpone...
no. Oh, he's walking in, but he saw it. Nice little cue there from the Diana jungle. We'll be able to defend mid here as well with the Pale Cascade. Knight going in, but Spectral Maw doesn't reach its limit. Jackie Love just poking from afar as best he can. So mid turret defended, Xiaopeng crisis averted. And now another Rift Herald in hand, 55 seconds before Dragon spawns.
Yeah, I think that Rift Herald is going to be crucial onto getting pressure either towards the bottom or the middle side. Usually we see it in the mid, used as a kind of 6-man really to gain the extra pressure, so you can come in with the pressure, set up vision control, and then go for the objective with said vision control afterwards. So TT in a position where they'll have some decent setup, but the problem for them right now is that their wallets doesn't really match the side of Top Esports wallets, and that does make it hard. You just saw how the engage kind of came on for Top Esports, really easy for them to just go on towards them. And even if TT makes the engage happen, there's a lot of disengage onto the side of Top Esports with the Gragas catch, with the Bomb Shield and the Glacial Fissure. So you can see Rift Herald being started out now, and then we should see the vision control try and come in through the river in a bit.
Oh, Caster's damage even hurts. I mean, that's a Night Harvester Gragas, and while he's got great disengage potential, the burst is also there considering Viego with the Mythic for Knight here. 2-0-1, great start to the game. Has himself a lot of lifesteal as well, and Top Esports first onto the Dragon. It looks like TT are pinging towards mid turret to try and make a trade, but Top Esports not full committing. 3 moving back towards mid wave, and Longxing now going to get spotted out, so mid will still go down, thankfully for TT, but Top Esports weren't able to find any kills after the fact.
Yeah, but it's definitely a best case scenario. If you're not feeling you can contest them on towards the objective, just cross map it. And I don't really know if we can call mid lane cross map, but they went for their own play that they had a window to go for. And it kind of opens up the map for them a bit. It's going to be easier for them to get out towards the side lane now. As you can see, bot lane outer turret still up and available for Top Esports. So it wouldn't surprise me to see TT with the expanded map pressure they have to try and go for some more aggressive line of vision, or at least vision in their own jungle, so they make sure they will not get collapse from Top Esports now that they have some longer lanes to work with.
And what about those longer lanes for people like the Jace, right? Lungshing as well on things like the Lee Sin. It feels like alongside as the Herald is... Am I just silly? Did I just miss the Herald? Or no, we already saw it through the mid lane. I'm sorry. Bit of a yikes moment. I was going to ask you more about the side lanes here and how we see this dogpiling team composition you talked about play out with the Jace, with the Lee Sin, how they can match Top Esports until we get towards the next objective, which is most likely the Dragon.
Yeah, so in a vacuum, I think a lot of people, when they expect dogpile compositions as the side of TT have, they very much expect it to just come from one front and just go into you immediately. You can't really do that against Top Esports composition, though, just because they have to disengage, they have in the Braum, they have the Gragas with the cask. So you need to create some lines of vision pockets where you can create some flank situations, either for Diana to come in from behind, or the Lee Sin with a perfect kick to kind of set up and execute on a key member, either Knight or Jackie Love, for example. So right now for TT, the most important part for them is to establish some pockets of vision where they can kind of make their composition work from multiple flanks instead of just one. Because if you just attack them from one flank, it's going to be very easy for Top Esports to play that fight out with that composition.
And I like that they're setting up the defensive vision to make sure they got full tracking of TT, right? You had that defensive scrimmage up towards the Baron area, a couple of control wards. TT are taking over, and it was some of the priority and control wards we saw in their inventory moments before, but you can see Top Esports the exact same, right? Everyone with that red ward in their pocket. Xiaopeng still trying to go deep here, trying to clean out some of it. Just notice Qingtian almost with his TP up in the side lane. Knight's there as well, so they're both playing sides at the moment, both just absorbing resources, while Jackie Love sits in the mid lane. A very tempered game that Top Esports are happy to let their carries get 2-3 items and then move towards the Dragon as it comes up. So I like that you mentioned vision here. I am more curious as to, you know, if TT are able to force anything, find some of those pockets coming through that was talked about as they start controlling the river up towards the Purple Worm.
Yeah, I think your biggest problem right now is that you're also behind in the items department, but also in the moral mana department when you look at right now. Jace is such a strong pick in this meta, especially when he gets to 3 item with that Cyrilda's Crotch as well. But it's about getting there. So from the side of TT, you don't mind slowing the game state down a bit. You have the 2 first Drakes. You don't really have to worry about the Soul. You also have a Kai'Sa with 2 items now. 3 items would be an amazing setup for her as well that you can kind of put yourself towards. Problem is right now that Top Esports doesn't really mind that either, and they're going to be looking for an engage here just to cut it off.
Hey, you said slowing the game down. Look at Top Esports. Caster doesn't get the body slam, but really wants an explosive cast. Mid turret goes down onto the inner, but Top Esports aren't going to over push their might. And while TT might be happy slowing things down, Top Esports still trying to elevate this game to its potential. 21 minutes in, they're going to have a 2k gold lead after Lungshing pushes down this turret. And now all outers down across the map. So map becomes a lot larger, a lot more pockets of vision that were mentioned to see how TT can play through those angles. Patch and trying to jump onto someone like Knight here, but I'm not too sure if Patch is going to find anything. Knight's just going to back in the brush.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if they're going to be winning that level, that 2v1 as well, because Blade of the Rune King now also picked up from the side of Knight. He's very scary onto Viego. We see a lot of different builds onto this champion. In EU, we'd even see Tank Viego come through, where you just get the shield bow, you get Thornmail, you get... you get Spirit Visage as well, but this time around, way more aggressive.
Oh, but down will Xiaopeng go. I mean, Top Esports only just started the fight. Jaw jumping back in, stand behind me, exhausted onto Sam D. They're still following this up. Watch for concussive blows as a kick from Lungshing. Absolutely beautiful. Will he go back in on the Sonic Wave? No Lee Syndrome today. Patch as well. Shield of Duran hits Knight as he gets out of the Heartbreaker. Jackie Love as well, poking out his positioning. Very dangerous as the Sonic Wave does connect. W as well. Sam D has no killer instinct. And Top Esports with that pick will net themselves another Dragon.
Yeah, it's not going to be any issues for them. You can see TT, all they're going to be doing just pushing out mid lane. They're going to be moving up towards the top side, see if they can clear as much vision as away. And there's actually a few pings coming on towards this Baron. I'm not sure if they're actually going to be starting it. No, they're just going to be clearing out the vision, and they're going to be going for the reset.
Cheekier picks in the LPL, seeing cheekier plays in the LPL. TT still behind now, 3,000 gold again. You know, with teams like Top Esports, Guildbook, over the years, like, they have been a team that would start Baron at 20 minutes, and it's just ironic that TT going into them would potentially look at the same. But you're right, they're not going to overplay their hand. At this point, they just clear out vision and back away. Good time to reset as well, considering we are getting those second items across the board for TT. The Sterex gauge, a lot more sustain here for Lungxing in those side waves and even in the fights. But I like the second item here from Xiaopeng. The Zhonya's Hourglass against a team where he wants to be setting up for the Moonfall and buying his team time. So we'll look at the replay again, because he didn't have the Zhonya's when he was going for this play.
Yeah, and I feel like the only reason you ever face check that is if you feel confident enough to actually contest the Drake, but I don't think TT should feel confident enough. You didn't have the Mirror Mana, you don't really have the items, all the carries you need to contest, and yeah, just Xiaopeng. Face check in a bush, he really didn't need to. I think Blue Trinket on 2 members as well onto the side of TT could have been, you know, just an easier face check here. But I up until this point, I actually like the read from both teams on how the map state is. You can see Top Esports, they're making the most out of whatever play they can right now, just because they know they are ahead. They know that they can pretty much do anything they'd like onto this stage. And then on the side of TT, as we saw before, when a play was made towards the mid lane, when they got that mid lane turret, Longxin was towards the bottom side of the map, getting his own turrets, telling his teammates, all right, let's back off. We don't need to handshake these plays. We don't need to go for a fight. We can just cross map until we feel confident enough to fight. And I think that confidence will be found as soon as Kaiser has finished that Lord Dominic's Regard and as soon as Jie is onto that Mirror Mana.
His Ching is going to be really hard to work through until that point as well. Top Esports grouping up once again. Explosive Cask is off a cooldown, and as soon as it is, Caster just leads the charge and starts looking for some of these picks. Considering we have the 3-item Ezreal, 2-item Viego, 2-item now on Caster as well with the Zhonya's Hourglass. He's been involved in 6 out of the 7 kills, so if there's a play, expect Caster to be the one initiating it here, as Top Esports have vision control, bar one ward that you can see in the edge of your screen around Baron. So TT just hovering around mid, just in case they try and poke this one down. And for now, they've cleared that final ward. Top Esports want to lure them in.
Yeah, you can see from the posture, and they're definitely looking for it. Predator has been procced as well.
Okay, back in line. There's Moonfall. On top as well, the dog pile begins from Patch. This is what you wanted to see, Guildborg. Sam D free hitting as well. Xiaopeng got out of there, but Ching Tian's ult may have changed the landscape. Caster goes in, bursts them down, and Knight cleans up on the back line. Not enough damage, it seems, as Lungxing runs away onto the Baron, but that purple worm is not his friend. He's going to get food poisoning from that nice piece of candy, and Top Esports wipe him clean.
Yeah, you can clearly see what TT Compositions wants to do, and had this been in a situation where they would actually be ahead, it would have looked completely different. But you also see what Top Esports Composition does here. They disengage after the play has initially come through. The Braum passive was crucial in taking down some D. Yes, the Braum didn't go. Yes, the Braum fell, but all he needed to do was just proc that passive on towards the members. As soon as they've jumped in, it's really hard for them to deal with it. And you know, I like the proactivity from Xiaopeng. I like the fact that he sees the Braum, gets a nice dash, tries to get it with the Galio ultimate, and it's actually paired up nicely. But there you see Braum, just before he goes down, gets the Qs on towards the members here, and it's really easy for them to pick up Sandia afterwards. Knight, after having picked up the Jace, does a lot of damage with the poke as well, and it is just Viego. You know, one reset is really all you need to take over a fight.
In the backline, Knight was just exceptional. I mean, Cars with the double belly bop too. A lot of elements of that play that look great for Top Esports. And TT, while that looked even better, now in a bit of trouble as the TP right on top of Xiaopeng. He's pulled back in. He's solo killed in the middle of his own team. Dunked down and made a statement as Caster is on the chase and TT have to run because Top Esports' ego is too big.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he must have watched that pre-game where we kind of talked about him being a bit underwhelming. Not this time around, 7-2 onto the set. And you know what? It looks like Top Esports, they're not done with accelerating their pressure. Drake will be spawning in 20 seconds, but I don't think they need it. They're just keeping this 1-3-1 up and running.
Well, Knight actually going to be aggressed up and
Wow.
Okay, now it's Kaiser time. Knight has evolved again. Heartbreaker down. Yeah, caught out. Everyone's coming in, but Knight looking for his reset. Flashes away. Goes invulnerable for a moment. At least camouflage down. Knight literally just destroyed 3 people and at least got close to killing the other 2. Down, Jackie Love will take patch and yeah, Viego feels balanced. Gilborg and Top Esports don't look balanced at all this game.
Yeah, Knight even misplayed that so heavily. You could look on towards the player cams. He was just straight up laughing.
Again. Oh no, Moonfall. Golden, good timing here. Qingtian takes 2 turret shots too many as Draw jumps in as well. Last defense here, it feels like, but with so many low health bars, Knight not being here, Baron minions kind of doing most of the work. Jackie Love sticking around. 1 Nexus turret drops down, but yeah, Top Esports will have to back away from this, but that is a huge Baron power play. Jackie Love caught out. Killer Instinct not available though, so not going to be able to follow that one up. A 4.5k gold Baron power play, Gilborg. That's all you could ask for.
Yeah, and we talked about Top Esport. When they have a lead, they try to accelerate this lead to the utmost they possibly can. And now with the Baron buff, now with only 1 lane up right now for TT, it's definitely starting to look like the final nail in the coffin. Yeah, they can get the 3rd soul point, but you know what? I don't even think soul is going to be relevant. I think with this Baron buff, Top Esports is going to be looking to try and finish out the first game. But TT, they're still trying to get some pressure. They're still trying to get some resources they can in the jungle.
Oh no, but Patch, yeah, needs to get the hell out of there. I mean, walking so deep when Jackie Love is that 4-item Ezreal is no-go. Top Esports, Baron's not going to be up for 3 minutes if they want to try and use that to finish the game, but Super's channeling down top, Super's channeling down mid as well. Bottom only has a weak inner left remaining, and Knight wants to solo kill again. 2-level advantage. He's backing in Gilborg, but I don't think Ye's getting out of this one. Knight took no damage from an Eclipse Jace because you have yourself a nice death stand. That was so easy and the most underwhelming solo kill in the bottom lane. We're trying to finish this one up if we're TT, but Qingtian annihilates Sam D. He's running under turret. The shield from the Sterix Gauge means that Qingtian survives. Top Esports to 4 down here. Now they'll try and end.
They're just mopping them up at this point. It's just clear disrespect. You can look onto the player cams. They're all just smiling. They know they have this game right now. They're just waiting for the minion wave, and this should be it. It was a competitive early game from the side of TT, but as soon as Top Esports got a small lead from their solo laners, they just kept that acceleration going.
Didn't slow down, did it? Caster on the Gragas. Absolute beautiful game here to open up the series against TT. Top Esports smack them down 19-5 in 33 minutes.
Yeah, it was, as I said, quite a mopping here in the late game. It just felt like a highlight reel for Knight onto the Viego as well. There's so much damage. And, you know, if we kind of take stock at how the game went in the early game, it felt decent enough for TT. They got some good cross map. They even had a good level 2 down towards that bottom side of the map. But it just felt like they never got to punish that. Top Esports was really good at using that pressure, set up the vision control around that mid lane, and every time someone was just alone under the mid lane turret, they just put in Qingtian from the top side, they put in the support from the bot side, and they just kept the dives going. There was not much they can do, not enough priority to set up a defensive line of vision to kind of keep that from happening.
And it was the priority and vision for that game, I think, for both sides that made the difference, right? TT were always squashed out. It was always those picks from Top Esports that pushed the momentum in their favor. Whether it was a dive, bullying down with Casa roaming around on the Predator Gragas, or even towards that bottom side brush where I think it was Patch who walked in but couldn't get himself out. So there was a lot of good pick potential here. Top Esports really snowballed the momentum of the game from the mid game onwards, and you're right, we never got to see that dogpiling come through, bar that one fight, but then you're down one full item on core carries, and Knight is having his way with before he can shock blast the team. So I think mixed with really good target selection, this was the Top Esports we wanted to see running up against TT.
Yeah, completely, because, you know, we talked, all right, was a shaky start from the side of Top Esports. What can we expect of this team? Small shaky bot lane, but outside of that, we didn't really see what we saw against JDG. It was a much more controlled play from the side of Top Esports, and you can clearly tell they had a game plan. You can take a look at the goal difference over time. Just a small lead for them in the early game that just kept exponentially growing, and once they were that one item ahead of TT, there is nothing they could initially do. It was just Knight pouring down onto a side lane, Jackie Lock with the Vines under a poke. It was really hard for TT to play the team comp.
After what was, as you said, a decent laning phase, right? We saw Xiaopeng up to the top side. Qingtian got the 1-for-1, but that was after the fact where it was, I believe, no, Top Esports got first blood, excuse me. Xiaopeng tried to influence some of the lanes, but wasn't as successful. And Sam D in the bottom side with Patch got the level 2 summoner trade out of draw, out of Jackie Love, but again, you're right. Nothing ever came of that. Jackie Love got to poke out, Draw got to roam around a little bit as well. And I think really good awareness of what TT were trying to do, that TT wanted Top Esports grouped up, but when you don't have vision control and when you don't know where Top Esports are trying to set themselves up for a gank or a pick, it's really hard to predict where they're going to go next.
Yeah, 100%. And it was a lot about the small early skirmish. We talked about the jungle pathing as well, Hysterics. That top side skirmish became crucial for Top Esports in just getting their first lead. Because initially, you get the summoners down towards the bot lane, then you can just, kind of forfeit the top side of the map, because now your strong side turns into the bottom side. And with that, we would have kind of liked to see Xiaopeng just get the mid lane priority with the Jace in the early game, which we know he can get. But problem was, he just fell so behind. No flash for him after that skirmish. Really easy for Top Esports to expose. So as a team, as TT, it was hard to translate their small leads into anything due to the rest of the map just kind of falling apart.
That's why it's always so much fun to watch TT. They're a team that look good early and you think, well, maybe they can push this further, but it was a hard game one after we got towards that mid game. Ladies and gentlemen, Top Esports, a 1-0 start to the series. Guildborg and I will be back right after this break to see if TT can try and take it all the way.